Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, and today I'm going to show you how to make these sweet gift card or ticket holder envelopes using basic supplies and some cute graphics from our sponsor Storyblocks, formerly Stock. As a Storyblocks subscriber, I can download anything from the 400,000 images in their member library at no additional charge, including high-quality photos, vectors, icons, and more, and save 60% on the new marketplace content. Do you want to try it out risk-free? Well, they're giving away 7 free days, so you can try it out and access a massive variety of high-resolution photos, vectors, and more from Storyblocks. Click the link in the description box below to start downloading and get started today. For today's project, I chose this cute autumn forest clip art set to play with. You can print out the beautiful high-res JPEGs of this artwork, but since the image also comes as a vector, I decided to cut it using my electronic die cutting software. Basically, I separated all the pieces of the design so I could cut it from colored cardstock. This is more work, but I really enjoy die cutting and I think it adds a lot to this project. You can see how I've laid everything out on my virtual mat. To make the envelopes, it was actually really easy. I just took 2 rounded rectangle shapes and overlap them. I put one going horizontally and one going vertically, and then I just welded them together and it made it one piece of cardstock basically. So when I cut it, instead of cutting 2 overlapping rectangles, it cut just the outline of those 2 rectangles, and then when we fold it up, which you'll see in the tutorial portion, it makes an envelope. So it's a really quick and easy way to do this if you have a die cutting machine that's electronic, and then you can save them and resize them to whatever size you need. So super tip there if you like to do this sort of thing. Oh, and that rectangle in the middle where the 2 shapes overlap, that's the size of your envelope, and then the flaps sticking out are the flaps of the envelope. So it's actually pretty simple, really easy. I hope you give it a try. So I went ahead and cut everything at once, and as you can see, I like to arrange several colors on one mat. It just conserves on the amount of mats you need to have on hand, and it conserves on the mess that you're going to have on your table, because I like to have everything cut and stuck to the mats until I'm ready to glue. That way I don't end up losing any pieces. The envelopes I can take right off the mats immediately because there aren't little pieces to lose. And then if you have a lot of leftover space, like you will with the envelopes, use a punch to punch out tags or die cut shapes that you'll find useful when you are wrapping your Christmas presents, or things you can use as embellishments on your cards. And I just love this jumbo tag punch from, I think it's EK Success. I've had it for years, but it's great for punching out little tags, and I just keep a dish of them on my table, so whenever anybody goes to wrap a present in my craft room, they can just grab a tag and be all set. After you have all the excess paper removed from your mats, you can start gluing down your pieces. And I'm going to start with this little owl. He's so cute, and I just like to work with die cuts, and there are a lot of vector sets at Stock that work really well. Now their vectors are EPS files, so I had to convert that to an SVG before I could cut it in my die cutting machine. So just to let you know, there is a little bit of technical know-how involved, but you can always just print out the JPEGs if you want to ease your craft. So I'm just layering up and gluing down my pieces, and I'm working right on my die cutting mat because it just keeps stuff from shifting around while I'm gluing. I just would be careful not to let the glue seep over the edges so it doesn't glue it permanently down to your mat. I recommend, if you're die cutting these clip arts, that you don't cut every little detail, because some are really tiny and difficult to work with. In fact, I opted for a marker for the eyeballs and to color the legs, just because dealing with the tiny little die cuts was really difficult, and this was so much easier. But my die cutter was able to cut it, so that was kind of cool. If you need help removing your little critter from the mat, just use a palette knife to scooch underneath there, and then it will be easy to remove. Look how adorable! I love the addition the pen makes. That just makes it pop off the page, I think. So now for the fox, I am simply gluing just like I did before. The glue I'm using is in a fine tip applicator, and that is really great for when you're doing die cuts. I'm just using regular Elmer's glue in there too, which is fine for decorative pieces. If I was doing construction work, I would not want to use that glue. It's not quite strong enough, but it works great for the little die cut applications. And I'm back to the marker to put the little eyes and nose on my cute little foxy. I just think these are fun because you can also change up the expression if you want open eyes or you want eyelashes or whatever you like. You have the option to do it however you like. Now, another fun thing that you can do with die cuts is you can use chalk or colored pencils or pastel pencils to shade on your little critters, and it just gives them a little bit of extra life and dimension. But you don't have to. It's just a little extra step that is kind of fun to do. I cut each banner as 3 pieces and glued them together. I thought that gave it a bit more dimension than just cutting it out as one solid piece, but if you wanted to cut it as one solid piece, you could simply weld those together before cutting. I just glued them together using my fine tip glue applicator, and I glued it down on a non-stick mat. That way, if any glue seeped, it was not gonna get glued somewhere I didn't want it to. So you will want to go ahead and glue your banners together before you begin the gift card pocket assembly. Assembling the pockets is really easy. All you have to do is fold in the flap. So we're going to be adhering 3 down and leaving 1 that can open just like on a regular envelope. So you just want to keep the other end unglued for now, and I'll show you how to make the closure after we decorate the envelope. I mean, there's no real reason why you can't make the closure now. That's just the way I decided to do it, I guess. So the first thing we're going to do is figure out how we want to place our animals on our envelope. So this is the larger of the 2 envelopes, and this one is good for holding like movie tickets or paper gift certificates, because still a lot of stores, especially out in the country, still use a paper gift certificate instead of a gift card. So this just gives you a little bit extra room for that. Or if you want to put cash or movie tickets or theater tickets, whatever you happen to have. And I glued down the banner first, and then I'm going to overlap my fox. And I don't have too many different ways I can place things just because it is a pretty tight fit. I designed the envelope to fit the die cut that I decided to size up to this size. You know, you can make it any size you want. I'm just explaining why I arbitrarily did it this way, I guess. And we're just going to glue that down. I did switch over to my zip dry glue because I do like that when I'm working on a larger area. I did switch back to the fine glue when I needed to glue these little branches on there. This was really pretty too, and it came with a kit, and I was really surprised at how well my die cutter was able to cut that tiny little stem in the middle. I was really happy that they all didn't like break apart. When you choose the paper to make your envelopes with, I recommend going with something with a lot of contrast. So in this case, using a very pale mint green paper, it worked really well, letting my other clip art shapes stand out. And of course, remember, if you don't have a die cut, you could just print out the cute animal clip arts on cardstock, cut them out and adhere them onto a handmade envelope. It will work just as well. And the other thing I like about zip dry glue, which I used for the fox, is that it takes a little bit to dry, a little time, so I can kind of lift edges up and tuck things underneath like I did with this placement of the branch there. So just a couple little tips I was thinking of along the way. I think that is so adorable. There are many ways you could make a closure for this, but I wanted to make a nice reusable one so that the recipient could always reuse this gift card holder to give their own gift. So I started off by punching a hole in the center of the top flap, and I put in a jumbo brad. These were put out a few years ago by Basil Basics. I'm not sure if they still make them, but I think you can still get jumbo brads. And then what I'm doing is I'm closing the envelope, and on the back I'm making a dot where I want to make a second brad, and we're going to make a string closure on this, kind of like old-fashioned document envelopes. So we're going to need to poke a hole there so that we can put our next brad through, but the crocodile is not going to reach in there, so I have a clever solution for this. All you need is a piece of craft foam, or if you have an old mouse pad that you don't want anymore, you could just cut a piece of that so it fits in your envelope, and then you can use a thumbtack or a needle tool to poke that hole. And that's going to make it so much easier for you to slip a brad in there, so that way it doesn't split the paper and make a mess. After inserting the brad, just reach your hands in there and spread out the legs of the brad so it lays nice and flat. And if those poke out too much, you can always put a tape over the legs on the inside of the envelope so it doesn't scratch your gift card. So now we're going to do a string closure, and I thought baker's twine would look really cute, so I am snipping off about an 8-inch piece of red and white striped baker's twine. Green and white would be super cute as well, and I'm going to tie it to the big brad. So I'm just going to do a double knot. Single knot probably would be fine, but a double knot will just make sure that it doesn't go anywhere. And it also helps give a little space between the envelope and the brad. And then you simply close it by doing a figure 8 between both of the brads, and I think it is so cute. The only thing I want to caution you not to do for a closure on one of these, if you're going to have a gift card holder, don't use a magnet because it could mess up the magnetic strip on a gift card. But other than that, you could use washi tape or Velcro or brads. I really like this pale pink paper for the small gift card envelope I did here. This is all by Crate Paper, by the way, in case you're looking for it. And much like before, I'm just arranging my die cuts around to figure out how I want to put them down. And I thought that was a cute little arrangement. The banner does hang off the edge a little bit, but I still think it's pretty cute. And you could always hang it from the Christmas tree if you're worried about it getting bent or damaged if you have it somewhere else while you're waiting to give it to somebody. I really like the Christmas ornament idea because when you hang this cute little envelope on a tree, it's cute and makes a nice decoration, and then you don't have to worry about it getting lost because you always feel bad if you lose a gift card. And what I would do in that case is just punch a little hole in the upper like right hand corner and just put a little baker's twine through it and make a little hanger that way. Just make sure you punch it before you put the gift card in so you don't punch a hole through it. But I think that would work out really well. And you can see I'm just assembling this in the same way as the fox, just, you know, arranging them differently to fit this smaller envelope. And you don't need this much glue. I don't know what I was thinking with all that glue. That is way too much glue. Gratuitous glue usage in this video, but it's awful cute. You have to agree. Now, because this envelope is smaller, I wanted to have a simpler closure, and I thought a tuck closure would work really well, especially with these big brads. It would be really easy to do. So basically what I did was I closed the envelope and figured out how far down I'd need to put the brad, and I'd still be able to bend the flap and tuck it under. So I determined it was about a quarter of an inch below the, or a quarter to a half an inch below the flap in this case, where the flap meets, where it ends, I should say. And then I simply used a little fun foam and my needle tool to poke a hole so I could put my brad in and it wouldn't rip the paper. Then you simply flatten the legs of the brad down on the inside of the envelope, and then all you have to do is just tuck the flap underneath the brad and you're good to go. You could do that with a button too if you wanted to stitch that on, but it would be kind of tricky to stitch it on inside the envelope. Now, I was concerned that the legs of the brad might scratch a gift card or maybe even scratch the back of it if it was put on backwards. So I simply took a piece of regular old masking tape and placed it on the inside of the gift card holder over the legs of the brad, just to kind of kind of seal them down so they wouldn't scratch the gift card. So there's a little tip for you there. Here you can see the closures side by side so you can determine what you like best and do whatever is right for your gift card holder. I think this is so adorable, and make a bunch ahead of time and you'll be all set for Christmas. If you have any leftover die cuts, they make fantastic gift tags. I just took a large manila shipping tag and glued this cute foxy down, and then I just added some fancy ribbons from my stash. It was quick and easy. I didn't have any leftovers, and let me tell you, these handmade tags look fantastic on a present that's just wrapped in plain brown craft paper. It has such a rustic feel, especially with these woodland critter clip arts, that it's just so pretty, and you can get a bunch done ahead of time. And I just love that there's no waste, and getting stuff done now so that you can relax and enjoy the holidays is a big win in my book. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial today and you give some of these ideas a try. I want to thank you for watching, and I want to thank Storyblocks for sponsoring this video today. Remember, they're giving away a 7-day free trial, so click the link in the video description to get started today. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Until next time, happy crafting!